Perfect. International boxing news. I'm joined by Dmitry Salita, promoter of Jermaine Franklin. Dmitry, obviously after the press conference, you're very disappointed with the result. Talk to me, how proud are you of Jermaine Franklin tonight?
Extremely. You know, when I signed Jermaine in 2019, I said that Jermaine is one of the best heavyweights in the world, one of the young guys to watch. And some people paid attention, some people didn't pay attention. And I'm very happy that what I thought about him came true tonight. He even has more potential. He's been on and off for the last 3 years, has not really been active because he has some personal issues that he had to deal with. But I believe a star was born tonight, even though he didn't get the decision. But most people, the press, the fans, felt that he won. Whether Dillian Whyte gives him a rematch or not is on him. But Jermaine proved that he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. Dillian Whyte is maybe number 4 or 5, 6 best heavyweight in the world. And this young kid from Saginaw, Michigan, 28 years old, has been inactive for the last 3 years. Came here and won the fight tonight, just didn't get the decision. He's one of the best.
It is, obviously, you mentioned there as well, kind of, to take the fight, you needed to sign up to a rematch clause in case Dillian Whyte did lose. Do you think it would be, do you think in your mind it would be a respectful thing for Dillian to give you that rematch, that same courtesy that was in the contract?
100%. If he's a real fighter and is a real champion, I think that that's a great thing to do. Whether he'll do it or not, probably not, because he has, wants to pursue the fight with Anthony Joshua, which I think will get done because it's a big fight for the UK, and I believe that Anthony was not super impressed with Dillian tonight. So, we can do what we can do, and Jermaine can do what he can do, and he did great tonight, and he's going to do great next time out. And if it's Dillian Whyte, if it's somebody else, I believe that Jermaine showed that he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. From the rich state of Michigan, where Claressa Shields is from, Floyd Mayweather is from, Jermaine Franklin, Tony Harrison, Cornelius Bundridge, Tyson Fury, first met Sugar Hill and Emmanuel Stewart when he came to train in Detroit, which is where I met him in 2010. So this is also great because it shows how much local talent there is with world-class potential in Detroit, in Michigan. He's from Saginaw, an hour away from Detroit, but that whole area is very rich in very good boxers.
Perfect. Obviously, we know in boxing some fighters don't necessarily get what they want or even what they deserve as well after a great win or a great performance as well. Joe Joyce, kind of those other world level names, Joseph Parker, I heard you mention as well. Would those names also be quite? Would those appease Jermaine Franklin in his next fight?
Possibly George Joyce, Daniel Dubois. Yeah, I think all those fights make sense. Maybe Alexander Usyk. Because, these heavyweight fights, sometimes they get made, sometimes they don't get made. I believe Jermaine, with the fight tonight, showed that he's in the conversation, showed that he belongs to that level, and he can fight Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz. I mean, all those guys, you can say that, after tonight's performance, you can say that Jermaine has a chance to beat any of those guys. And I think that we want to cement him as an elite heavyweight and keep on pushing his rise to the top.
Of course, and with a performance like that, I think my final question to Dmitry, obviously you do a lot of work with Claressa Shields, obviously she's making an even bigger name of herself after beating Savannah Marshall. Obviously she's now calling out Natasha Jonas and Terry Harper as well. Are those two fights that obviously appeal to you and also appeal to Claressa as well?
Definitely. Claressa wanted, when I first signed Claressa, she said, Dmitry, make the biggest and the best fights. We're going to take the sport of boxing to the next level. In our first fight, she fought Franchon Cruz, who's now the undisputed super middleweight champion. In her pro debut, where do you see that? Look at her resume, how many world champions and top 10 contenders she's fought. Number 1 contenders. In her 4th fight, she won the world title. So she wants to make her story, not history, her story, as she has done. And certainly coming back here and fighting Jones or Harper would make a lot of sense. I do want to say that for Claressa, because she's such a symbol of strength, it would also be very powerful for her to fight in the Middle East, for her to fight in Africa, to fight in these different locations as an accomplished woman and one of the most accomplished athletes of all time. I believe that it will be very powerful, and she's the Muhammad Ali of our generation.
She is. In your mind, obviously, Tasha's got 3 of the belts, Terry's got 1 of them, or would it be a case of styles? But who would you pick out of those 2 next for Claressa?
Whatever the fans want to see, whatever fight we can make. Claressa's on a different level. She's a GOAT. I do believe that a rematch with Savannah down the line makes sense because it was such a great fight.
It was.
And Savannah put on a great performance. Clarissa just showed that she's a great. And I compared this fight to Leonard Hearns, and I believe that it lived up to that. One of the best live fights I've ever seen. Really incredible. Couldn't have been better. And I believe Clarissa won, I don't know, 8 rounds, maybe 9 rounds. They were competitive, but Clarissa won every round. And people that go to our fights should save their ticket because it's going to be a historic item that 10, 20 years from now is going to be considered very worthy.
Don't worry, I was in the arena that night. And I
so save that ticket, man.
Keep my ticket as well. Would a rematch with Savannah Marshall have to happen in the US, with the first fight being in the UK?
No, we're open to all possibilities. I mean, we want to make the biggest and the best fights. We want to make sure that Clarissa gets paid what she deserves, and we'll explore all possibilities.
Of course, Dmitry Salita, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, man.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.